good morning, and happy Saturday. Shabbat Shalom. I haven't been reading in English lately. I've been reading in Tigrinya, so I think it's about time that my English speaking friends and family follow along. We are actually reading the book of Genesis. We're in the middle of the story of Joseph. We read chapter 40 yesterday, and today we'll be reading chapter 41. Here we saw that the hand of the Lord was with Joseph, and that whatever he does prospered. He was a man that whatever he touched turned to gold, because the good Lord was with him, blessing him every step of the way. He was in prison because of an accusation that his boss's wife asked him to go to bed with him, and he refused, and she falsely accused him that he was trying to rape her, and they had put him in a dungeon, put him in prison. So we see him in prison for 2 years, and along came the servants of Pharaoh. When they offended him, 2 of them were put in prison. And so we find here at chapter 40, here we see the hand of the Lord in Joseph's life. This is a turning point in his life. He was falsely accused, having done nothing wrong. And now these 2 men will be in prison with him, and they will have both have dreams, and he will interpret the dreams, and there comes the turning point of our brother Joseph. So I'll read chapter 40, a couple of verses from there. And it came to pass after these things that the butler of the king of Egypt and his baker had offended their lord, the king of Egypt. And Pharaoh was wrath against 2 of his officers, against the chief of the butlers, and against the chief of the bakers. And he put them in ward in the house of the captain of the guard into the prison, the place where Joseph was bound. And the captain of the guard charged Joseph with them, and he served them, and they continued a season in ward. And they dreamed a dream, both of them, each man his dream in one night, each man according to the interpretation of his dream, the butler and the baker of the king of Egypt, which were bound in the prison. And Joseph came into them in the morning and looked upon them, and behold, they were sad. And he asked Pharaoh's officers that were with him in the ward of his lord's house, saying, Wherefore look ye so sadly to this day? And they said to him, We have dreamed a dream, and there's no interpreter of it. And Joseph said to them, Do not interpretations belong to God? Tell me them, I pray you. And the chief butler told his dream to Joseph, and said to him, In my dream, behold, a vine was before me, and in the vine were 3 branches, and it was as though it budded, and her blossoms shot forth, and the clusters thereof brought forth ripe grapes. And the Pharaoh's cup was in my hand, and I took the grapes and pressed them into Pharaoh's cup, and I gave the cup to Pharaoh's hand. And Joseph said to him, This is the interpretation of it. The 3 branches are 3 days. Yet within 3 days shall Pharaoh lift up your head, and restore you to your place, and you shall deliver Pharaoh's cup into his hand after the former manner when you were his butler. So here we see the butler had a dream. In the dream, he sees that he was giving wine to the Pharaoh as usual. So he tells him, this is what's going to happen. Pharaoh will restore you back to your job, and you will be back to where you were doing. And so he gets restored. And Joseph tells him, but think on me when it shall be well with you, and show kindness, I pray you, to me, and make mention of me to Pharaoh, and bring me out of this house. He's telling him, when things go well with you, remember me and tell Pharaoh about me. For indeed I was stolen away out of the land of the Hebrews, and here also have I done nothing that they should put me into the dungeon. He has done nothing to deserve this prison. But this man forgets about him. He gets restored to his job, and he forgets about Joseph. And 2 years later, an amazing thing happens. The king of Egypt, Pharaoh, has two amazing dreams that we'll see in chapter 41. At the end of chapter 40, it says, "Yet did not the chief butler remember Joseph, but forgot him." He forgot about what Joseph told him. He told him, "Please remember me." And he forgot about him. So chapter 41, "And it came to pass at the end of 2 full years," so 2 years has gone now. "At the end of 2 full years, the Pharaoh dreamed, and behold, he stood by the river, and behold, there came up out of the river 7 well-favored kine and fat-fleshed, and they fed into the meadow. And behold, 7 other kine came up after them out of the river, ill-favored and lean-fleshed, and stood by the other kine upon the brink of the river. And the ill-favored and the lean-fleshed kine did eat up the 7 well-favored and fat kine. So Pharaoh awake. And he slept and dreamed a second time, and behold, 7 ears of corn came up on one stalk, rank and good. And behold, 17 ears, and blasted with the